was a trash man in Stone Harbor, New Jersey when I was a kid. And I'm going to talk about that, but before I do, I want to talk about something else. You may have noticed, over these few months of noticing me, that I'm different. I don't care about the fact that this was supposed to be a 5 to 7 minute speech, and it's going to be a 15 to 20 minute. I don't do contests. I respect all those things, and I would recommend that everybody else do those things. But I have a reason for not doing them myself. And tonight, I'm going to let you see behind the curtain. And in order to do that, I'm going to take you back to 1971, to the late summer. Now in 1968, when I turned 15, the first day that I could do it, I went down and got something called work papers. It's a New Jersey thing. And I went out and got a job at a local supermarket called Bud's. In the summer of '69, I got hired by the borough of Stone Harbor, and they had me cut grass for them. But that's not what I wanted to do. That wasn't the cool job. What I wanted to do was collect trash. Because the trash men made more money than everybody else. They got overtime, which we didn't, cutting grass. And they were just really cool guys. In 1970, I got promoted to the big leagues. I became a trash man. And in 1970 and 71, I did that job. Now, there were some other people who worked for the borough of Stone Harbor. We didn't like them. They looked down on everybody. And when I say they looked down on them, they literally looked down on them. Anybody want to guess who those guys were? No? They were the Stone Harbor Beach Patrol, the lifeguards. Move over, you're in the wrong spot. It's not like Jacksonville Beach where you can just go out wherever you want. You can go surfing all day long. No, those guys were Nazis. We hated them. And sitting up there, godlike on their altars, there was always the bikini-clad teenage girl worshiping at the foot of the Adonis. And we were cooler than them. But we were cooler in a different way. See, in Stone Harbor, New Jersey, you couldn't put your trash in the front yard. I look at these trash men in Jacksonville Beach and go, these guys have it so easy. There's this mechanical thing that goes zit, zit, and we put our trash out for them. But in Stone Harbor, you didn't get to do that. The trash men came into the backyard, and we took these enormous pails, carried them on our back, and we would go in the backyard, put the pail down, and empty 2 or 3 of those metal galvanized trash cans into the thing, then get it on your back, get outside, and dump it in the truck. See, the lifeguards, they did their little row the boat every once in a while to stay in shape. We were ripped because we were in shape all day long. But not only that, this was an affluent neighborhood. People had some amazing backyards. Some of them were on the Intercoastal Waterway. Some of the people had swimming pools even though they were almost on the beach. And we'd go into their backyard and we'd meet their families and their daughters. And they would say things to us like, oh, you look so hot and thirsty. Would you like some iced tea? And we'd say, oh, that beer looks mighty refreshing, sir. Well, are you 21? Is the Pope Catholic? So we found out that by doing that, that people would not just give us a beer, because we'd say, look, we'll save this for later, which we did. They would give us a 6-pack at a time. So we would start in the morning with an empty cooler, and by the end of the day, it was full. And that's the thing made us cooler and tougher than them. So we were badder in every way than they were. Now, it was a mutual animosity. They didn't like us either. See, they were high and mighty, we were on the ground. We were of the people. They represented authority, and we represented anarchy. We would go east and west, same as at the beaches here. Intercoastal waterway, beach. Come up the next street, intercoastal waterway, beach. Every time we got to the beach, we were hot. We were in shorts and usually no shirt or a t-shirt. We'd run and jump into the water and we'd hear, hey, you gotta get out of there, you're in the wrong spot. So they didn't like us either. And the only way we could get back at them was to just not collect the trash at their houses, because we kind of knew where everybody lived. And so the thing that, and also that year, there was something that was instituted called beach badges. So they would also say, oh, you don't have any beach badges, we're gonna call the police and you're gonna be locked up and all this. And of course we'd go, badges? We don't have no badges. We don't have to show you no stinking badges. But the thing that we hated the most about them was at the end of every summer, they had something called the lifeguard ball. Oh, it was this fancy schmancy dance at a place called the Women's Civic Center right on the beach. It, I believe, was $50 a ticket. It was for charity. $50 in 1971 is somewhere between $350 and $400 today. And they would go around and knock on people's doors and ask people to, I think my parents gave them $5 each time. Like, well, here, kid, go away. But it was the big deal, like if your daughter went there. But we got together and said, wait a minute. We're cooler than them and we're tougher than them. The only thing they have over us is that ball. Let's throw our own ball. And so that's what we did. We threw the Stone Harbor Island Trashmans ball. Kudos to my son Tom, who designed this for me. This is an almost exact replica of the original shirt. And you see it's Mr. Natural here, and he's thinking about Stone Harbor Island trash. Because that's what we went into people's backyards and got. We even had our own little sign that we would give to people, because we carried the trash like this, or we'd walk down the street, go, trash. That was our little thing. So we threw ours. Ours was free.
Whoa.
We spent several weeks from the time we instituted this plan saving up some beer. And that was a very hard thing to do when you're 17 years old, to like hold back on the beer, the free beer. And what we would do is we would drink the crappy beer, like Iron City. I don't know if there's anybody here from Pittsburgh, but Iron City beer is the worst beer in the entire universe. So we would drink that and we'd save the Schmitz and Ortliebs for the girls who were gonna come to our ball. We held it at the bowling alley a block away from the Civic Center on the exact same night. And I'm sure that at the lifeguards ball, somebody spiked the punch, but at our ball, we had so much fun that I can't even tell you about it. So, why did I tell you this story? Because you may ask, like, this guy always tells stories about himself. Why does he do that? They're not as much speeches as they are stories. There's a reason. I have two grandsons. I have Frank, who's 20, and Arlo, who is 2. I have more yesterdays in my rearview mirror than I have tomorrows in front of me, unless, of course, I live to be 140 years old, which is probably not going to happen. My next project at Toastmasters is called Building a Social Media Presence. And I could put something together and then do a 5 to 7 minute speech or thereabouts, and it would be okay. But what I want to do is I want to be able to tell my story to my 2 grandsons and any other grandchildren who come after them, even 50 years from now. So I want to record my speeches, some that I've given here before and some that I haven't given yet, and build that social media presence. Like I said, I could do this by myself, but I find that when I ask other people to be part of it, that it's better. Now I have a vision for it. I want to also sign up at a speakers bureau and post some things there, but I haven't really set my mind on any particular course. But I'm inviting you guys, if you'd like to be a part of this, to contact me. So we're talking about, by the end of this thing, which will be done in April of 2022, when my wife and I go on our big trip, I would be able to do this myself, to record these things, to post them to the social media and all that. If you would like to be a part of it, please contact me by email or phone. And I didn't even do 15 minutes, did I? Dang. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.